ethnic minority. They just have to go home. They just literally, they came within the last 20 years maximum, most of them within the last 10 years.
What is
They
the
have
enforcement mechanism for that? So I agree with you that a lot of these people will have to be removed by force. And don't act like the people that are currently running the most anti-American administration in the world here in the United States, don't act like they don't know that. They're forcibly removing Palestinians from their homeland that has rightfully belonged to them for 5,000 years. They're doing it at the end of a gun barrel, and they're going to build Gaza Lago atop the bones of these children that they go and crush. So this isn't something that should be controversial to talk about. Forceful removal should be done, but it should be done in the inverse way that it's being done right now. So what's the apparatus? What's the enforcement mechanism? What would you use? The military? Would you use the police force? How would this happen exactly?
At this point, it is still within the range of the police force to deal with. And it would be relatively simple if they actually just did what they were required by law to do, and removed those people who are illegal first, and then removed the rights of those who are technically speaking legal to residency within the country, because they are a drain on the economy, and they are largely here because of the multinational sector using the Irish economy as a money laundering operation. And so that's where you get the artificial economic boom that Ireland is supposed to be in and is supposed to have been in for quite some time now. But it's a money laundering operation. We're just a Western European Ukraine, and the pretense that we're buying armaments with it is not made. It's pretended that, oh well, because the headquarters of various multinational corporations are artificially placed in Ireland, therefore, at lower corporation tax, we will just launder money from all over the world through Ireland's tax system, and that's essentially what's going on. And then you have all these people coming in, but of course there aren't the jobs for them, and the tech sector is, insofar as it's making jobs in Ireland, it's actually bringing in foreign workers to take those jobs.
What's the public sentiment? What's the support level regarding, surrounding your party?
Well, I would say we are at a very early stage. The reality of it is that we're not in a position. We weren't in a position to run candidates in all the electoral areas and the last time we had a general election. So we need to be ready for that the next time. But we also need to be ready ideologically and coherently to put, as I said, this general sense that something is dramatically wrong in our Irish society that most people have, to put that in firm ideological coherent terms and get people to understand the origin of the problem. Because of course, like any other problem that anybody faces in their own individual life or in their national political life, if you don't understand the origin of the problem, then it is inconceivable that you're going to come up with any solution, never mind.
Well, yeah, and you have to be able to talk about the origin of the problem out loud. You mentioned that the central bankers, if you start talking about the headquarters, of the criminal central banking cartel on Rothschild Boulevard in Tel Aviv that has compromised pretty much every government throughout the West like a parasitic infestation, you're referred to as an anti-Semite of the worst order. I mean, you're a virulent anti-Semite, and you're cast out there onto some island where your digital footprint is completely reduced. And your reputation is under attack, and you fall subjected to lawfare and all kinds of other things, hit pieces by, of course, the same people that are funding the media, and they just write their own news. And so how do you cross over that hump to have the population of 5.3 million Irelanders say, you know what, this is actually BS, and I want my country back? How do you get rid of the spirit of idolatry around people like, say, Donald Trump or Conor McGregor in your instance, where people are like, yeah, we'd love to have a fighter be our president? I mean, there's a guy that is, completely 1,000% sold out to a foreign interest, and he has promised the people of Ireland that if he does rise to power, that essentially Benjamin Netanyahu will de facto be the president of Ireland, just like he is here in the United States. How do you combat that with the public?
Well, one of the things we have in our favor is the fact that the country is relatively small, geographically as well as population terms. So you can literally travel from one end of the country to the other in the one day. So you talk about the digital footprint and getting your message out online and so forth. Is that, yes, that is very difficult. Indeed, my own wife just had her Twitter account banned as of this morning because of a post that she put up yesterday. So you have that, but on the other hand, you have the direct access to people by physically presenting yourself in front of them. Now, is that a risky endeavor? Yeah, that's very much a risky endeavor. Because is there a physically violent left and Antifa in Ireland? Yeah, there is a physically violent left and Antifa in Ireland. Indeed, our own party conference in 2022 was attacked with claw hammers. 30 to 40 members of Antifa, as they call themselves, crowded into a relatively small hotel room to attack a party meeting. And there were several very serious injuries that were only not worse because we were able to fend them off. But ultimately, yeah, I
They
guess
were there to inflict maximum damage. I mean, they would have killed if given the opportunity. Isn't that right?
they would have. They would absolutely have killed. Well, as I have said to those journalists, those few journalists who are willing to listen, if you come to hurt people at a political meeting, you bring sticks. If you come with claw hammers, you're coming to kill people. And that's what they were. That's what they were here to do. So we have this problem, and ultimately it amounts to, Stu, and this is what I would say to people, is it amounts to having the courage. It amounts to literally having the courage to name who the originator of this problem is. And that's the explanation of how it has happened so quickly. And it is also the explanation as to how it can be so coordinated and why the political reaction to it within the political establishment, because, of course, they have a problem as well. They have to deal with the cost of this. They have to deal with the crime that's resulting from this. The police force that are actively suppressing dissent against the asylum seekers coming in, they also have to deal with the criminality of this asylum seeker element, this minority ethnic community, which was never there before. And why are they willing to put up with that? Why are they willing to go along with that? Well, we know why they're willing to go along with that, because ultimately they don't take orders from the parliament. They don't take, or just as in the United States, you don't take orders from the Congress anymore. You don't take orders from the president. You take orders from the Jews and international finance capital. And in particular, in Ireland, the way that lever is pulled is through the threat of these multinational corporations simply withdrawing from Ireland overnight and the economy collapsing. But it's about courage. And that's true in every country in Europe. It's about courage. It's about actually taking it in your responsibility to say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, and tell people the absolute 100% truth. No holding back. But of course, we have the optics people, don't we? Don't say that because you'll get called this. Well, you'll get called that anyway, but well, don't say it. Don't actually explain it. And let's rally behind, and you'll know this from the American example as well, is let's rally behind Conor McGregor as the respectable figure, the one that he's the man, after all, who was invited to Donald Trump's White House for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So that's a respectable way to express your dissent. Yeah, it's a respectable way. It's also a way that will ultimately have no actual effect. And that's the distraction. And that's something we're having to deal with quite literally in the last 3 to 4 weeks, because although he's made a few comments before, he has never stated he will run for political office in Ireland until the last 2 weeks. And now we're chasing around this MMA fighter myth, the same as the Trump myth in the United States. And everything will be solved if McGregor becomes president. Now, the thing about the Irish presidency, it's not an executive presidency anyway, and there's very little power that the Irish president can actually exercise. Now, is there the moral force of him actually getting elected? Yeah, we know what that's worth. We know what that's worth in practical terms. But it doesn't even have the executive power that the presidency in the United States has, even if he were to win that office. And he probably won't even get the nomination for it.
Well, I would like
Because
to
that
talk to you more about viable solutions. There's a precedent for these solutions. It shouldn't be controversial to talk about these solutions. And you seem like a straight shooting, no BS kind of guy that wants to have those conversations. So when we have more time, will you come back, Mr. Barrett?
I will absolutely, Stu. I will be very happy to do so.